Marcus pulled into the factory parking lot at exactly 6:58 a.m., 2 minutes early like every other day. He'd worked at Midwest Components for 3 years running the CNC milling machine on the day shift. His supervisor Linda was already standing at the time clock with her arms crossed, looking at her watch like she was timing a horse race. Linda stopped him. "You're clocking in at 7 and 2 seconds. That's 2 seconds late." Marcus blinked. "I usually come in at 6:58. The schedule says 7. If you clock in even 1 second past 7, that's late. And according to the new attendance policy, being late means you lose your morning break." She smiled like she'd just won an argument. The new policy had come down from corporate after some manager complained about people taking liberties with their punch times. It was harsh, but technically legal. Marcus spent the next week getting docked for being late. 7 and 4 seconds. 7 and 1 seconds. 7 and 8 seconds. The machine needed constant monitoring, and sometimes a part took an extra few seconds to finish. Every time Linda was there with a printout showing exactly how many seconds he'd cost the company. He filed a complaint with HR, but corporate said the policy was being applied fairly and consistently. That was the phrase they used. Fairly and consistently. Marcus started coming in earlier, 6:55, 6:50, sitting in his car until 6:59 and 50 seconds just to be safe. Then Marcus found the clause. Buried in the employee handbook, the one nobody read, was a section about break times. It said employees must remain at their workstations until the exact scheduled break time and may not resume work until the exact scheduled end of the break period. No early leaves, no late returns, clock has to match the schedule to the second. Marcus smiled for the first time in weeks. The next morning, Marcus clocked in at exactly 7. He walked to his station and sat down. At 9:55, when the break started, he stopped working. He did not move. He sat exactly as he was, looking at the machine, until 10 when the break officially ended. His CNC machine sat idle for 5 full minutes. Linda saw and went pale. "You can't just stop mid-cycle." Marcus shrugged. "The handbook says I have to stay at my workstation until the exact break time. It doesn't say anything about stopping work early." He wasn't wrong. At lunch, Marcus took his full hour. He clocked out at 12 and did not come back until 1 exactly. At 3 p.m. when the shift ended, he clocked out at 3 and walked to his car. He did not stay late. He did not answer questions from Linda about just finishing up one more part. The exact time was the exact time. Other workers noticed. Some laughed quietly. One started doing it too. By Friday, Linda had a crisis. The company had a big order due, and every minute counted. Marcus's machine had been sitting idle because he'd refused to pre-stop his work before breaks. The order wouldn't finish in time. Linda demanded Marcus work through his breaks to catch up. Marcus pulled out the handbook. "That would mean I leave my workstation before the scheduled break time. That's not allowed." That handbook said so. Corporate had said the policy was being applied fairly and consistently. Marcus was doing exactly that. The order was late. The customer was angry. Corporate called an emergency meeting. They asked why the day shift had been so inefficient, and Linda tried to explain about the attendance policy. The HR director who had approved that policy went quiet. Marcus wasn't breaking any rules. He was following them perfectly, to the letter, just like the company had demanded. The policy didn't say workers had to be productive. It said they had to clock in and out at exact times. That was all. The policy got changed 2 weeks later. Breaks were now flexible, and workers could manage their own time between tasks. Linda stopped watching the clock so closely. Marcus went back to coming in at 6:58 a.m. like before. Nobody mentioned it. The handbook was quietly updated, the clause about exact times removed. But Marcus kept a copy. Just in case. You never know when a policy might need to be applied fairly and consistently.